morning. We'll call the regular meeting of the Auburn Water District to order. The first order of business is to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 22nd.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second. All in favor?
I guess I should just be present.
Right.
The second order of business is to approve the minutes of the special meeting of January 29th.
Actually, I probably shouldn't, I wasn't paying, I was thinking it was the regular, I wasn't even at the meeting of
Yeah,
January
yeah, I
22nd.
forgot about that. So I'll make the motion for January 22nd.
And I'm gonna second his
Yep,
motion.
and then the three of us.
All in favor? All right, then,
Good catch.
the special meeting of January 29th.
That one.
You wanna make the motion?
Okay, no.
All right, second, all in favor? Mike, you wanna do
Sure.
your thing?
Yeah, so I have my word here. So revenue amounts are strong compared to budget, due largely to a positive variance in public fire protection revenue. This is due to the timing of billing where we have 3 months billed in January versus the 1 month that we have shown in the budget. Expenses are under budget, due largely to positive variances in payroll and the UV treatment plant. Payroll variance is being driven largely by 2 vacant positions that are being budgeted for that have since been filled. They're also attributed to overtiming under budget in payroll for January. The other positive variance involves UV treatment plant expenses, which are under budget, and I believe that's due to timing. Cash on hand of 3.9 million is sufficient to service existing debt and fund operations. I'm happy to address any questions anyone has.
Michael,
Yeah.
under the expenses, 3/4 of the way down, under insurances, is that almost twice as much as usual? Is that a timing,
I
payment
believe that's
timing thing?
Yeah, I can double check that, but I would suspect.
That's
it's
what I
timing.
figured. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. This is the opportunity for public comment. We have a member of the public here.
I see some interesting agenda items, but I have no comment. I'll just sit here and be educated.
2 in a row?
2 in a row. Take note.
Okay, Matt, project updates?
Yes, thanks Dennis. Activity reports, fairly normal. I'm not gonna go through every line item. We did have 4 water main leaks for the month. We are getting some snow cover. It was fairly cold through January, so we had some, freezing, some thawing, some movement of the ground. Also, one thing to, kind of keep an eye on, we did have an earthquake past month. Not saying there's any correlation there, but that's something that, we'll keep in the back of our mind. We did.
Certainly raised an eyebrow.
Yes. Yeah. When it hit, we came down, we looked at all our instruments through SCADA to see if there was any indicators of an issue post earthquake. If there's no questions on the monthly activity report, I'll get right into, go ahead, Bob.
First page, the hydrants. The private hydrants, do our district people, as well as check them, shovel them too?
So our people just inspect them, we don't maintain access to them. When we first go out there, we do initial inspection of them, and then we give them a detailed report of any issues with the hydrants. And then after that, it's more or less going out and inspecting them every 2 weeks after that.
Thank you. The next page, services.
Yep.
There were a number of frozen services. When we go out and deal with those, are preventive measures discussed with the owners to avoid the frozen services again?
Yeah, so preventative measures are discussed with our customers, as well as providing service for them, for us to thaw their services, if they want to go that course, so they can hire somebody else.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Getting into project update, DOT pavement projects, the 3 listed there. We have one on Route 4 from Turner Street to Bridge. Another one from Route 4, starting at Veterans Bridge, going to Oak Hill Road, and sections of Minot Ave, Court Street, and Route 11 that have been awarded. We did put out an RFP for adjustments for our infrastructure in those project limits. We do have a bid opening on, actually tomorrow, at 2 p.m. City pavement projects, all our quantities for our gate boxes and our service boxes have been sent to the engineering department over at the city for us to be included as a bid alternate on their contract. Merrill Road, we've been working in conjunction with the city of Auburn and the engineering firm Coral Palmer to minimize any conflicts with our assets with their reconstruction project out there. We are looking to take advantage of the potential warm weather we're having next week to go out and do some test pits so that we can get elevations and we can potentially do redesigns so that we don't have to move any of our infrastructure in that project.
Matt, water, remind me, water doesn't go all the way across, right?
It does
It's just
not.
on each end?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it comes down, please forgive me, I'm not sure that it comes
It
down
comes
from
from Minot Ave, but.
Might be just a
the other
small
end-
section there, and then it covers probably a couple thousand feet on the hotel road side.
Down by
Yeah.
the businesses.
Yeah, yeah. Any questions on project updates?
On the gate boxes, didn't
Yeah.
didn't the crews used to adjust the gate boxes and now you put that out to bid?
Well, we still do gate box adjustments, but given the sheer numbers of these, like hundreds upon hundreds of them, a lot of this is, some of these projects is gonna be night work, and it's very disruptive for us if we take our entire crew and bring them in here for a week at night to accommodate this project, and we don't have them here during the day.
So these 157 are just for these 3
Yeah.
projects here?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, unfortunately with operations, we can't have our
Yeah.
crew out there, you know, these are very busy thoroughfares.
But the regular, for gate box,
Oh, yeah.
has to be adjusted in my neighborhood.
Right, we'll do that,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks. Mike?
All right, on to new business. In the 2025 budget, both districts approved $25,000 in the equipment funds, $12,500 for each district, for the purchase of a new loader. Our existing loader is a 2013 JCB. We have a couple of attachments for that loader. We have a set of forks that mount in place of the bucket. It also adapts up to our street sweeper. After a construction project, we can go and basically sweep up the dust and dirt. The loader is tired, it's served well. We secured pricing from 4 different vendors, Matt, I believe?
Yes.
Four different vendors. The JCB was once again the most attractive price. It also works out well because all of our attachments adapt to the loader without having to purchase new sweeper, without purchasing new forks. So we're looking at a 5-year lease of $19,520. $19,520.58. I didn't have the exact number at the time I was putting together the packet, so I put a little buffer in there. So we're looking at that for 5 years. It's well within our budget, and I'm just looking for trustee support to move ahead with that lease.
How much was the lease on the previous one?
So the previous one, I believe, was somewhere in the neighborhood of $13,000, and we did that again over a 5-year period, and then we've owned it since then.
Sure, you want to vote on that? I mean, the sewer
Sewer-
trustees were going to, but because,
It's already approved in the budget, so
Yeah.
whether you need to take a vote or not, maybe it's just an FYI that we did follow a procurement process. We got several prices. This was the most attractive price, and it suits us the best. So it's already been approved through the budget, so we'll just move ahead with that.
sounds good.
All right, that was the first thing on the new business. Second thing is fluoride. Without getting too political here or driving into national politics, you should be aware that on a national level, the pros and cons of adding fluoride to water are being discussed. And it has drummed up some local attention. I think at this point we've received somewhere just shy of a dozen calls from different residents, ratepayers of the district who are questioning why we apply fluoride to the water. You know, they usually call demanding that we stop immediately. I've had requests for me to provide, you know, fluoride-free water. You know, and we have to walk them through where we're at. I found this the other day in my office. It holds a lot of treasures. In 1968, the district the city of Auburn actually took a vote and determined that it was the majority of residents that wanted to add fluoride to the water. So we started doing that. To this day, we continue to add fluoride and we follow all state and federal regulations. What I basically like to do is adopt this attached statement that's within the packets. It basically states everything that we do, the rules that we follow, and the process in which people should follow if they do want the residents of Auburn to consider stopping the practice of adding fluoride, because it is not actually a decision the district has the power to make. We can't just take a vote tonight and say, let's stop putting fluoride in the water. That has to go on the vote in November.
It needs to go through referendum, yeah.
Yep. So again, I just want to adopt this statement, and I'd like to put this on our website. When people call in, our office can reference this, they can answer people's questions. Something that I do want everybody to be aware of, you know, right now we share the water treatment facility. Many of our treatment processes are shared, including alkalinity and pH adjustments. The fluoride that we use in the water is a hydrofluorosilicic acid. So in the raw form, it is an acid, and it does have a profound impact on the pH and our treatment techniques at the lake. And if we were to remove fluoride from our water, but Lewiston kept adding the fluoride to the water, there would have to be some substantial modifications made so that at the end we could balance the pH and alkalinity independently of each other. Currently, the plan is not set up to treat the water separately.
So would it actually cost more money to remove the fluoride?
Well, it would. I'm estimating between $250,000 to $1 million in work to modify the treatment process if we were to remove fluoride but Lewiston continued to apply it.
Wow.
So I do want everybody to be aware of that. I don't want that to be a reason. I'm not trying to convince people not to do this. It's a fact. And
But it'd be something that if we were looking at putting it, they probably should.
Well, they'd have to have a.
it'd have to be a referendum vote.
Well, you have no idea how either one of them would come out.
Right.
You don't know if it'll make it on the referendum in Auburn. It could go through referendum in Lewiston and they remove it, but we continue to add it. Which case, again, similar modifications to the treatment plan would have to be made. I just want everybody to be aware of that, because there has been a growing number of calls and inquiries regarding this, and I don't believe that's gonna go away. So, if anyone has any comments or suggestions on the statement, I guess you can let me know, but otherwise, we're gonna move forward with putting this on the website and using it as a reference for staff and our water quality managers to communicate with the public.
So when this was agreed upon back in 1968,
Yeah.
did that have to be in agreement with?
No, because back in 1968, we had a separate intake pipe, we had separate treatment facilities, it wasn't even a thought, you know?
Both cities voted
Right,
separately, and they both ended up putting fluoride in, and so when you got to the point of the new plan,
Yeah.
everyone was doing the same thing.
well, it doesn't matter, we both had fluoride, so this works out fine, but, you know, there will
But
be a
it would
problem.
have been a little situation back then too, I guess, if one could.
So anyways, just, again, this is more of an FYI, if you have any thoughts or comments on the statement. Otherwise, I just want you to be aware, because, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we We get people coming to our trustee meetings advocating for this one way or the other. Depending on how this goes nationally, there could be more coming. So just want you to be aware.
What about Lewiston? Have you heard anything? Have they been getting calls?
They have not gotten any calls. I do, regularly communicate with Erica Kidd, the water and sewer superintendent. I have asked her a couple of times when we meet with our shared water treatment manager, have you heard anything yet? Not yet. I did send her a copy of the statement. I said, well, we're looking at, we cannot advocate, when somebody calls and whether they're for or against fluoride, I don't advocate one way or the other. That's not my opinion doesn't matter. We voted to add, we add fluoride, we follow this standard.
I think this is good.
Okay. All right. This moving on to the next item is terms and conditions. So the district has a set of terms and conditions. In fact, every water entity, public water supplier in the state of Maine has a set of terms and conditions. This essentially is our contract with our customers. So if you get in here, it defines, all the rules and regulations from you must have a water meter, that you must pay your bill, what happens if there's a leak, what happens if there's non-payment disconnects. It outlines our contract with our customers. It's been a number of years, 10 years in fact, since we've updated the terms and conditions. There are many sections of this document where I'm questioning we're not necessarily following these terms and conditions because we've modified our operations based off of changing rules at PUC and other state agencies. So we need to update this document to make sure we're in conformance with general practices, and we need to make sure that our fee structure for services cover the work that we do. For instance, we charge $10 in some cases for a trip fee. I can tell you right now, it costs us a lot more than $10 to deploy an operator, a service truck, to go to a house and do anything. So we need to update this document. I'm going to be working on this internally here at the district. If there's any interest from any trustee to kind of keep tabs on the updates that we're making to these. I know I went through, I have another set of these sitting on my desk. I've got about 25 flags in the 16 pages where I feel like, we need to update these policies. So we're going to be working on this. We're going to be gathering information from other districts. We're going to be meeting with PUC. We essentially will come back to the board, show you everything that we're going to suggest. We then need to get PUC approval. We then need to publish those new terms and conditions, wait a required period before formal adoption of the terms and conditions. So again, this is just an FYI to inform you that we're gonna start that process and that you're gonna hear more about this. And if there's anything in here that you want to stay apprised of, I'll keep you updated as we generate new drafts of this. That's all I have there.
Makes sense.
So the next item on the agenda in old business, new business, is Lewiston SCADA agreements. This is kind of a long-winded one. I know there's quite a bit. I'm sorry it's so long-winded, but it's been a long road. I just tried to give you the background of where we're at with SCADA. SCADA stands for System Control and Data Acquisition. It's basically how we monitor all of our processes. The discussion we're having right now is particularly SCADA up at the shared water treatment facilities. So back in 2001, the district signed interlocal agreement number 4 with Lewiston. At that time, we did not have a staff member here at the district that was capable of doing SCADA, radio telemetry, programming type work. Lewiston had a technician, so we signed an agreement where basically we would reimburse Lewiston for 50% of their staff member. He would work in Auburn for 50% of the time. And that arrangement worked out very good for a number of years. It was a great benefit to the Auburn water and sewer districts. We were able to bring our control systems in our water and sewer here that are individual to us up to date. I think we lead the curve in the state of Maine with our systems, and that's frankly due to this agreement that we've had for years. Back in 2012, when the water treatment plant was built, it was quickly realized that this is going to add a whole lot more responsibilities to SCADA. So we signed the first amendment to the agreement, and the district hired a full-time SCADA technician, for which we shared with Lewiston. So these two individuals worked together since 2012, and they took care of all the shared SCADA needs at the treatment plant, chloramines, and other facilities. They did all the SCADA here and our systems, the Lewiston system, and this all worked very well. Again, we have very robust systems that work very well. Where this kind of goes off the rails is back in 2019, the availability of the Lewiston SCADA tech shifted. He was temporarily assigned covering for the electrical superintendent in Lewiston, so he wasn't available as SCADA. You know, it wasn't determined that this was going to last long, so it was like, okay, well, Auburn covered it. Unfortunately, it's never really gone back. From a series of, that person wound up getting promoted to the electrical superintendent, it took them a while to hire their own SCADA guy. They hired a new SCADA guy, but he wasn't qualified. He worked in that position for a year, never became qualified. He wound up leaving the city of Lewiston. They hired another SCADA guy. It's now been 2+ years. He's still not trained or qualified. He's not doing SCADA. You know, Auburn has been carrying the load. Lewiston had agreed to, you know, our guy was covering on call one week, Lewiston was covering on call the next week. Well, in all of this time, Lewiston has been paying the extra money for our guy to cover all of the on-call because they didn't have anybody to cover it. So our guy's been covering all the on-call, been doing all of the shared responsibility work. To me, it's been at the burden of the Auburn Water and Sewer District because our guy's being monopolized to do all the work at the shared facilities. So when I became superintendent, it was one of my things, you know, I made myself a long list of all the things I'd like to get done. And this was one of them. I wanted to get this fixed. I tried meeting with the electrical superintendent in Lewiston. I said, hey, how do we get this back to the way it was? You know, we gotta get your guy trained, we gotta get him on call, we gotta get him in the loop. You know, it was kind of one promise after another. It just never happened. I then went to the Lewiston Water and Sewer Superintendent. Again, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, you guys have really been unbelievable. Thanks for covering this. We'll get them in there. It's just not happened. Last summer, back in July, in the back of your packet, you'll see a letter that I sent to the Lewiston Public Works Director, Kevin Gagne, regarding this. Basically, I had enough. This isn't working. We're burning out our guy. I proposed to him a draft agreement where Auburn would cover all the SCADA needs up at the UV and shared facilities, and Lewiston just pay us for 50% of the time like we do all of our other interlocal agreements. We did have several discussions about this last year. They agreed. Again, they just kept trying to promise, well, we'll get it back, we'll get it back. At the end of last year, we did agree that we will no longer share responsibilities in our collection and distribution system, so all of our pump stations, all of our water tanks. We're doing that on our own. We're no longer paying Lewiston for half of their SCADA guy. They're not reimbursing us for half of ours. We're kind of in limbo. We've hired now a second SCADA guy because we're covering all of our own needs now. We've signed an agreement with the Clean Water Authority to where we're providing SCADA services to them. So that offsets our costs, helps us afford the second person. But we're kind of lost in limbo with that. I know Jeff Harmon has been very helpful with this. He has been having meetings with the Lewiston mayor, trying to understand this and get them to consider the agreement that I had proposed to them last year to share the expenses. But you know, at this point, we're kind of operating outside of an agreement with Lewiston. We don't have a signed interlocal agreement defining what we're doing with them right now, and we're certainly not following interlocal agreement number 4 that was signed years ago. So, you know, kind of lost in limbo land with this. Yeah, I don't know, Jeff, if you want to.
Yeah, so I'll jump in where I got involved. So, once again, Lewiston Water Division said, yeah, we know we're not holding up our end of the agreement, we're gonna make it right. Everybody met, I think it was December or something, Mike, and they had this plan. the SCADA guy was gonna come to the plant for 2 weeks, gonna get familiarization, he was gonna then start doing, you know, their half of the load. First week he showed up an hour late, wasn't there for the 2 weeks. Second time, didn't show up, third time he didn't show up. So, I was talking to Mike about this, so I went across the river to see Mayor Shalene, right? Because on their side, it's a city operation. So, as you might imagine, didn't know anything about what skater is. We had a conversation about that. He had a meeting that day with the city administrator and said he was gonna talk to the city administrator, get back to me. He did, said they realized they weren't upholding their end of the bargain, they were gonna look into it. The guy shows up right unannounced, I guess, Mike.
He was there the next day.
Next day, so this is like on a Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Carl and I meet, and he trucks downstairs and sees O'Malley, and the guy shows up unannounced the next morning at the treatment plant. I'm here for my training, of course. We don't know what the hell to do with him. So, they say they're gonna send him every week, and he does show up for part of the day, and then he leaves. So, the mayor got back to me, and we had some more conversations about this, and so here's where we're at. My message to them is they're not fixing this, right? Great, we all, I don't know how many people have called Mike to apologize, a lot, and some of them multiple times, but okay, that's great, it's a bunch of happy talk, because yes, we get it that they're sorry that they haven't uphold their end of the bargain, but we wanna, what are you gonna do to fix this? So, the way I've left it with them is, there's two parts to this from my perspective. One, the guy's gotta be qualified, he's gonna be an electrician, gonna know how to do the programming, he checks those boxes off, he has to be familiarized with the plant, he isn't, that's what the 2 weeks was supposed to be for, and he really needs to be a level 4 operator, which he isn't, but what I told Lewiston was, we can live with that for now, and someone can sign off for his work if we're actually getting something done here. And we can live with, if he's gonna show up once a week to get familiarization, that might take a while, but if they're actually gonna do it, okay, we could probably live with that. So that didn't happen, so the guy showed up a couple times, so went back across to see the mayor, and they're setting up a meeting with Mike and I, and the mayor and the city administrator, and Lewiston, and probably Kevin Gagne, I would imagine, I don't know, he didn't say about that. And the discussion at this meeting, because what the mayor over there hears is, yep, mayor, we heard you, we fixed it. Well, yeah, but the guy showed up, but that hasn't fixed it. So what we want is he gonna be qualified? Is he gonna be able to take the on-call and handle the calls? And during the day, is this gonna be a priority activity? Because part of the problem we have is, the guy's up in a bucket changing a street light, and somebody calls about the water, and he'll get there this afternoon or tomorrow or whenever, but the water's gotta still keep pumping. So it isn't, this is my perspective, there's no plan yet from Lewiston on how to do this. So what I told them leading up to this was, we're all meeting on the 19th, this has been going on for 5 years, you should expect that there's no traction on this, to be getting a letter notifying you that the water district intends to terminate this agreement. And my advice to them is we're willing to work with them to have the guy do the work, but, and these are my words, Mike's throwing him a freaking life preserver into a boiling sea because he's offered them, we'll just take care of it, you pay us, what is it, Mike, 24,000 or 25,000 bucks a year, and we'll do the plant part, and you don't have to worry about any of this. So, my thought on this would be, we don't act to send the letter today because they're setting up this next meeting, but that if they don't have this thing resolved by next month when we meet, we should take an action to send them a letter to give them a cure period, you know, whatever the trustees decide, you know, 60 days, 90 days, whatever we think, to submit a plan and begin actioning that plan, or they should expect to, we would be terminating. And my point to them was, if they terminate, they're on their own. In January, we had what, 2 or 3 alarms in the middle of the night on Lewiston stuff. And my point to them was, the Auburn guys coming out to do this, and what really pissed me off and started all this with me going across the river is, our guys up at the plant working all overnight to fix an issue one night, and of course their guys nowhere to be found. While that was going on, there was another water issue and it flooded somebody's basement, so they called the Auburn Fire Department, who trucks over and pumps the guy's basement out. But they can't turn the power back on unless an electrician comes, right, to look at the box, make sure no one's gonna get electrocuted. So Charlie DeAngelis, the Auburn electrician, was out. So we have an agreement among the electricians between the cities. So they call a guy who's happy to run over on a 1.5 minimum call out to look at this box and say, yeah, you can flip the power on, but he's not up at the water treatment plant helping fix the water problem. It's the same guy. So we can't have it both ways. So that's my view of this, and happy to see what you guys think, but I think we should wait and take action in March if they don't start showing us they're doing something.
Is the district being paid by Lewiston for our training of this Lewiston supposed skater person?
No,
We aren't.
we're
So
not like.
we're training
we're
him for
not-
free, our guy is not working, doing
No, he
work.
didn't show up to the training.
Right.
You know, the training right now is just kinda on the job. Like last Friday, they did some work on some chlorine analyzers. So their guy was there while our SCADA guy, they worked together on the analyzers, so it was kinda on the project training. But it wasn't like in-depth training of how the water treatment plant works, why it works the way it does, the treatment objectives. It wasn't like overreaching training, it was training on specific analyzers, like we gotta do.
He's shadowing.
It was shadowing.
Yeah,
So-
but if they come for the 2 weeks, that's what we really need, because he needs you can't just call the guy at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, say, hey, we got a skater alarm, and he walks in the place and goes, geez, I wonder what the hell's going on in this building, right? I mean, and that's about where it's at, he doesn't know. So, look, I get your point, if they were gonna fix it and the guy was gonna do it, I think it's, in the spirit of cooperation, the guy could come over, we could work with him and train him and get things going, but that hasn't happened. My advice to them was take the deal, just send the check. Your life will be way simpler. But so that's where we're at.
But as in Mike's narrative, I think it was last month, Lewiston still wants to keep a hand in the skater, even though they're not taking any responsibility. They just don't wanna let go of it. And that's
I mean, I can understand it. I mean, it's been something they've been a process with for decades.
but if they're not
But
doing
they
anything to
haven't-
fix it, then
That was one of their statements to me was, well, we can't just take skate away from our guy. He's been doing it for 5 years. Not
There it is.
taking nothing away, you know?
I don't know, what's best case scenario? Say they do what is needed, the guy comes over for the 2 weeks of training, or? is that-
Well, yeah,
But that's the thing, is he's still got his foot in
Oh,
another.
there you go. And
Right,
that's
that's-
exactly my point to them, Eric, was, that's fine. They're telling the mayor, we fixed it because the guy's over there for training. And my point was, Carl, that's half a loaf. Okay, the guy's coming, but we need a plan to know how we're gonna get to the end where this guy has the certifications he needs, when he's doing the on-call, and when this is a priority, so when something happens during the day, this guy could be putting new outlets in some office in City Hall, right? Because our guys do this work. Their guys are electricians in the electrical department, and they do this as part of their activity. So they need, it's up to them. If they made it a priority, and and there's an alarm, they call, the guy trucked over here and fixed it, that's what used to happen, and people would be happy.
So he's gonna be an electrician that works for the water department, basically.
Except they don't have that in Lewiston.
Well, they have a water division.
Yeah, but the electricians are not in the water department, they're in public
Streetlights.
works in a separate group.
Under streetlights.
Yeah, in the street light.
But they've gotta separate one out.
Yeah, he's, right now, he's the SCADA guy who's designated under the streetlights, but he does kind of all that other stuff when he's not doing SCADA. So that's the problem, you know.
What's our guy do when he's not doing SCADA?
Does SCADA. He's
He's
dedicated
full-time.
to
He's a
do.
full-time.
He's full, and we've got two of them.
So we got two.
We got two now.
Well, they've got a new administrator on board, right?
Yeah, May
So maybe
1st.
things
Well,
will
that
change.
was another one of my points was, look, guys, we have a pending request about issues related to the treatment plan. That's what I told the mayor. I said, look, there's issues, we don't need to go into all what they are. We've been patiently waiting for the new administrator. This is not the way to start that conversation by us terminating one of the interlocal agreements related to joint operations. So let's fix this. The new administrator is coming on May 1st. I've talked to the mayors in the two cities he's worked with, very highly regarded, so that's a good thing. But, you know, practical reality, it's gonna be midsummer sometime. He's not gonna show up May 1st and invite us over to talk about this on May 2nd. I'm sure they got plenty of other issues to deal with.
Yep. Well,
I don't know, part of me doesn't think a whole lot's gonna happen in a month, but I guess you can give them another month, I mean.
Yeah, well, we'll
I don't know
see, because
how long
they
this is.
said they're gonna set this meeting up. I'll let Mike know,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know, when it is, and we'll go talk to him.
all right. So that's gonna be on the agenda next month.
So should they have a full-time dedicated SCADA guy? Is that what you're?
Well, that's what that always used to be, you know, and that's what it is by positioning. To look at it, he's SCADA, but he's not doing just SCADA. He's doing other stuff. And it's hard, like, there's not a day up at the water treatment plant where, oh, we do SCADA on Tuesdays. That's kind of what Lewison's like, well, we'll send him up here every Tuesday. Well, that's not how it works. You know, there's hundreds of PLCs and programmable devices that all communicate that makes that place run. And when something like, uh-oh, we have an alarm, this is not communicating, that means the fluoride addition system, the chlorine, that's not working. You know, we need to fix this right now or shut the pumps down, you're not making water. That's the way the SCADA kind of works. So it's not like, oh, just go up there on Tuesday and do some SCADA stuff. It's like, oh, we got this alarm on Friday afternoon, we gotta get up there right now. And then when you get in there, you find out that it's some electrical mechanical device that's faulted, you gotta get that replaced, you gotta work through this, and that's the way the SCADA works. And the question is, if that comes up this Friday at 2 PM, can their guy drop what they're doing and get up there? Or is it gonna be, it's gonna fall on Auburn's back, and we're just always the ones who fix it, because we're the available ones and the reliable ones.
And that's not gonna be acceptable. My point to them was, it just can't be they got a SCADA guy. They've gotta prioritize this in his work, and if it's the calls at 2 and they're the person that's supposed to be doing it, they gotta come do it. And the question is, are you prioritizing the production of water over your other electrical issues, right? And if they can say they don't wanna do that, just send the check, right? And we'll be-
it.
Right, and we'll be fine with that.
So would the check be for the full-time cost of our staff?
Half of the cost, it's estimated, right, Mike, it's half the cost of the work at the treatment plant, because we're doing our own distribution network and they're doing their own.
I think if
already.
I put in my memo here, so for like the month of January, there was, our SCADA guy spent 33 hours up at the lake. And I believe there was something like 10 hours of that was regarding 6 overtime calls that occurred after hours. So, you know, I would expect they pay 50% of that, you know, 50% of the 33 plus or minus hours, whatever worked up there, you know, and all expenses, you know, and share on the cost of the on-call. So I had run some numbers on that, and it'd be roughly, the cost of SCADA at the shared facilities was a little over $50,000 a year. Half of that would be, you know, $25,000. You know, that's all we're asking.
It's cheap
That's
for
a
them.
lot cheaper.
Oh, it's,
Yeah, that's a bargain.
Yeah.
It sure is. Sounds like too much of a bargain.
Yeah, okay, that'll be on the agenda again for next month.
All right, you ready to move into old business?
Yep, a couple of just small FYI stuff, I'll breeze through these. We did send out yesterday a water meter request for qualifications. This is for water meters, water meter reading software, and AMI services. The district's water meters are roughly 15 years old. We have about 30% unaccounted for water. It's time for us to select a new metering technology. The meters that are throughout our system are no longer used anymore. Our technology's old. Right now we have radio equipment in trucks. AMI is the way to go, so essentially you, instead of driving neighborhoods, you just click an enter key and read the meters. So we've got an RFQ out there to do that. We're gonna be looking at that March 14th is the deadline for submissions. There's been a lot of interest, so again, just an FYI that's out there.
Where did you end up, Mike, on that? Are they providing the meters or are we providing the meters? Or
So
are they
right
gonna
now,
tell you what?
so that's one of the questions in the RFQ. Will the providers, do they offer a metering for a service? So far I've heard from 2 of the vendors that they do this, where we would basically sign a contract, pay a monthly fee, they would come in, they would install all the meters, they would own the meters. If a meter faulted, we would stop paying for it until they fixed it. It would be all on them to maintain the meters, which is an interesting consideration that I'd like to make. But right now, I just want to select the best equipment.
Right.
And then once we know the equipment, we then can go after, well, how do we want to propose to handle Auburn's meters? Are we going to own them ourselves? Are we going to do the work ourselves? Are we going to sub out the installations? We'll figure it out from there.
Okay.
That's our plan of attack.
Last time I attended a meeting, I think that's what we talked about.
Water meters?
15 years ago.
The meters have gotten older.
So, yeah, moving on, unless anybody has any questions on that, I'll keep you updated when we get there. We'll have the results back by the March meeting. Water quality study, we do have some money budgeted this year to basically look at the current water quality and the trending water quality in Lake Auburn to make us recommendations on consideration of filtration, consideration of other treatment techniques, try to provide us with a timeline, where are we at in regards to advanced treatment. I know when I was hired by the district in 2013 or 2012, I was told, you're gonna be managing a treatment plant the next 5 years. Well, that was 12, 13 years ago. We still don't have a filtration plant, which that's great. We've been able to maintain the water quality, but we need to be prepared. Last year in a meeting with the executive director of the drinking water program, she asked me, so when is Auburn gonna build a filtration plant? And I was like, are you telling me we need to? What's going on here? It's just something I wanna be prepared with, for. I have met with Lewiston about this. They are also interested in this, and they also have funding that could be available for this. So we're gonna be working together to produce basically an RFQ and RFP to put out to get pricing backs to do this work. So you'll hear more on that. Watershed Protection Commission, there's a lot going on the commission. Our new watershed manager has been doing a tremendous job. We have been working on the septic inspection program. We have now, the commission has now adopted a new program. We are in the process, we've hired a new education outreach coordinator. They're gonna be starting at the end of this month, so we can get going with the first phase of the septic inspections. Lots going on there. We've also received a grant through Shore Corps. I'm not super familiar with this, but our watershed manager found this. There was only 4 awards for this given in the state of Maine. This is a federal grant. 2 of them were for freshwater, 2 were for saltwater. We received one of the freshwater grants. So basically we'll get a free employee for 1 year to work on shoreland protection, education outreach. So this is really gonna be a huge boost. In addition to getting the new education outreach coordinator, we will have another staff member that we will be able to assign to this type of stuff to really help us get this stuff going. So that was huge.
Mike, before we leave this, I got some
Sure.
comments on it.
Yeah.
When you're done.
Go for it.
For 1 year, and I noticed that on the next line after that there, it says this will fund a full-time position for work for the commission and focus on outreach and education. Then if we drop way down to the staffing update, we have hired an education and outreach coordinator to fill the newly created commission position.
Yep.
So here's, I see outreach here and education, and also this shore course steward, outreach and education. Do we get redundancy here?
I wouldn't call it redundancy, but I would call it like extra help. There's a lot of work to do to get education programs going in the watershed. We basically haven't been doing anything for the last couple of years because we haven't had staff. So yeah, the commission has created a full-time position, and we have made a hire. Again, that's a position that's funded 100% through the commission. And on top of that, we received a grant, so we're gonna have basically 2 new people for 1 year. One of them will be funded, will not be, we don't have to contribute anything. All we have to do is give them a workstation.
So that's a shore course steward.
Yeah.
So after 1 year, he's gonna be given like a 1-year contract or whatever they do with it. It's gonna be a 1-year position, and after 1 year, he's gonna go away, or he or she is gonna go away.
They stay with the Shore Corps, but they just won't work here.
They want what?
So it's.
In other words, they aren't gonna be added as another person
No,
of
No.
employment and have to pay another person
No.
commission.
And,
No.
and we're not, this extra person isn't actually gonna be an employee, right?
No.
They work for this granting agency,
Yeah.
they're just sending one of their people here
Yeah.
for a year.
they're
Okay.
assigned to work here for a year.
Okay. My
They won't-
concern was
they
to
won't
find
punch- They won't punch our clock, they won't be on our payroll, they're not in our benefits,
okay,
they're employed through that funding agency.
my concern was these, by position like this, the entity that they're working for somehow finds a reason, well, we need them to continue on, and I want, this job's gonna terminate after a year, and that's gonna be the end of it.
That's, well,
Okay,
yes, that's the intention.
thank you.
So yeah, that's the update on the commission side of things. So yeah, that kind of jumps into our next piece, the staffing update. And I am happy to announce that we are fully staffed. We did hire a new SCADA technician. He's been working here a couple weeks now. He has been working with Rod Hills, familiarizing himself with our systems. He's already serving on call, helping the load here for our systems. So he's doing a great job. Like I said, we do have a new education outreach person starting at the end of the month. Matt had a couple of things he also wanted to bring up that I think is kind of some good points to mention, if you want to take that part, Matt.
Yeah, really exciting stuff going on here at the district. We just recently reestablished our safety committee that's comprised of a safety coordinator, treatment plant manager, control systems manager, water, a representative from the water crew, a representative from the sewer crew, as well as facilities. So really excited about that. Also, employee spotlight here, we got Robert LaRue. He's been with the district a little over 6 months. He just achieved his Class 1 water distribution license. He's gone through CDL training with Public Works. So in the near future, he'll be sitting for his CDL exam, as well as another operator I'd like to shine some light on to is Derek Hoover. Derek's been with us for about a year now. He's earned his Class 1 distribution license in short time last year, and just recently he just sat and he received his Class 2 water distribution license. And additionally, he has a sewer collection license. So exciting stuff. Employees getting out there, getting their certifications, their licenses.
That's big news for us. We've been deficient in that for years, so we're really getting there. Good stuff.
That's good news, Matt, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That takes us through the agenda except for the executive session, which is agenda item 8. So move into executive session.
Make a motion that we move into the executive session as noted.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Continuing improvement, right? You know,
What you
yeah,
said.
that they're staying up with the times, and potentially bringing other
Oh, yeah.
skill sets to the district. That'd be beneficial.
I think
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so now does anybody have anything for the trustee open session?
I just have one question, Mike. What's the status with the culvert job on Lake Shore Drive? Is that gone on by the wayside.
So, yeah, we did receive a grant through DOT where essentially it was a MPI project, I believe, where basically we get 50% funding up to $1.5 million to replace the culvert on Lakeshore Drive. We signed the acceptance letter of that back in the fall of 2023. Unfortunately, with the way Lewiston's funding worked, it was not in their CIP, so they weren't funded for that. You know, our request was, we went to the city of Auburn and said, hey, would you share in the cost of this? You know, we went to the city of Lewiston, would you share in the cost of this? And it just hasn't gotten funded. I haven't seen any traction. At this point, I don't feel like we could, even if somebody said we'll be a partner with the district on this project, that we could even complete it within the time frame, because, you know,
It
you
was
get.
what, three
You have
years?
3 years to complete the work, but we haven't been through to the selection of an engineering firm, design, bid, construction. I think our window has almost closed on completing it, so
It's been a year,
it's been a.
because I was here
Yeah.
when we
And
signed it.
I thought I thought Lewiston was supposed to submit.
They were
that
gonna
for
put it
budget.
into their CIP, and I believe as of July this coming year, they'll be funded for it. But at that point, is it too late? Like, unless you could get an extension.
That's what I was wondering, if you could get an extension
Yeah.
or something like that.
Or-
Looking into.
Or, if they have it in their CIP budget.
They put it into their CIP, that's what I was told, I didn't.
Okay, well, if that's the case, why can't we start the engineering work and pay out of our part?
We should really, before we start paying, we should have a signed agreement.
Yeah, I agree with that, but we should have a signed agreement,
Yeah.
but if they got the money in there, we should see if they'll sign an agreement.
Okay,
And because you've got the MIP money, our money, their money, so you could probably get going. I mean, July's gonna be here before we know it.
yeah, no, it will be. Yeah, I just was, you know, it's kinda like SCADA, it's like everything falls on our shoulders with everything, you know, we advocate, and then when it comes time, well, we have to be the ones that do. And it gets hard to do all the advocating and the doing and the.
I get it.
I was kinda hoping that them being a 50% partner, like, hey, they got a whole engineering department, can you guys work on putting this out to bid? Instead of Mike doing it. But yeah, no, I will sit down with them and see if they're willing to sign an agreement with us for that 50% of our 50%. You know, which basically would mean that you could do, the district could complete a $1.5 million project for $375,000. If we could get somebody else to partner on our half, so.
So you need to get an extension from the state on that too, if it's not in the
Well,
window.
not yet. You get 2 years to go, so that you're not gonna get an extension now,
Okay,
because you haven't done anything.
Right,
If you're going and you got the thing going and you go to DOT and say, well, we need another 6 months, you might get it.
right,
okay, yeah.
Where's the culvert on Lakeshore?
it's Townsend Road.
It keeps washing
Okay.
over.
Yeah, a major inflow stream.
Anything else from the trustees? I will be absent from the March meeting, so Bob, you'll be on for March.
It's election of officers as well for March. Are you interested in staying?
If you're not here, you're gonna.
You're not gonna be here, so let's see how this is gonna go.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Congratulations.
Don't ask him now, because he can't say no next month, he won't be here.
All right, I guess that's it then. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn?
Second.
All right,
Also,
thanks.